Why does discipline feel like constant battle, requiring daily motivation, when some people execute consistently for years without any psychological struggle or willpower expenditure? You know that moment when you wake determined to be disciplined today, train hard, work focused, eat clean, successfully executing through sheer willpower until evening when resistance overwhelms you, producing collapse into comfortable defaults. Then next morning, you need to rebuild motivation from zero, creating exhausting cycle where discipline requires constant psychological effort, never becoming automatic or sustainable. The 7 habits I'm breaking down in this video are extracted from Musashi's documented practices and samurai training methods, specifically designed to create discipline addiction through neurological reinforcement. Not willpower techniques requiring constant psychological effort or motivation strategies needing daily renewal. Structural changes, making disciplined behavior genuinely more rewarding than undisciplined behavior through established dopamine patterns, creating authentic preference for discipline rather than requiring constant resistance against comfort-seeking impulses. Understanding this framework earlier would have prevented decades of failed discipline attempts through increased willpower, when actual problem was lack of neurological reward, making discipline perpetually feel like sacrifice rather than established preference. I'm organizing these 7 habits into 3 categories: immediate reward engineering, creating instant gratification from discipline; pattern recognition training, making discipline psychologically visible; and identity reinforcement building, establishing discipline-based self-concept. This structure matters because attempting identity reinforcement without immediate rewards means building self-concept around behaviors that feel unrewarding, creating cognitive dissonance, and attempting pattern recognition without rewards means tracking behaviors that remain psychologically unrewarding, making data meaningless. Let's start with immediate reward engineering. Habit 1. Instant visible completion rituals. First habit is instant visible completion rituals, creating immediate tangible evidence of disciplined action, producing psychological closure and accomplishment satisfaction. Mark completion physically and immediately. Create visible evidence accumulating over time. Celebrate execution, not just outcomes. Completion rituals create immediate reward by providing tangible proof that disciplined action occurred, triggering accomplishment, satisfaction, and progress recognition independent of eventual outcomes. Most people execute disciplined behaviors without marking completion, making actions psychologically invisible. You trained, but no evidence exists beyond memory. You worked focused, but nothing marks that execution occurred. You maintain discipline, but brain receives no confirmation signal. This prevents reward reinforcement, because psychological reward requires recognized completion, not merely performed action. Completion ritual provides explicit signal triggering reward response, making discipline immediately satisfying rather than merely instrumentally valuable. Why immediate physical marking rather than mental acknowledgement becomes clear examining dopamine timing and reward strength. Dopamine peaks with immediate confirmed reward. Delayed recognition produces weaker response because temporal distance reduces reward strength. Additionally, physical marking creates external evidence providing ongoing visual reminder of accumulated discipline, creating compound satisfaction as evidence accumulates over weeks. Mental acknowledgement lacks both immediacy and permanence, producing minimal reward reinforcement. Research on implementation intentions and commitment devices confirms that physical visible marking produces substantially stronger behavior reinforcement than mental tracking. Because tangible evidence creates concrete reward, signal brain recognizes reliably. Consider completing morning training sessions successfully. Without completion ritual, you finish, shower, and proceed today. Disciplined action occurred, but no psychological marker exists beyond fading memory. Brain receives minimal reward signal because completion wasn't explicitly recognized. Now consider identical session with completion ritual. Immediately after final exercise, you physically mark large X on wall calendar positioned prominently, or you move visible token from pending to complete container, or you mark completion in tracking journal using special pen and visible check mark. Physical marking creates immediate tangible evidence, triggering accomplishment satisfaction and providing ongoing visual reminder as marks accumulate. Same action, dramatically different psychological reward through explicit completion marking. Examine your current disciplined behaviors honestly. After executing disciplined action, training, focused work, maintained commitment, what tangible evidence exists confirming that action occurred beyond your memory? Most people discover they execute discipline invisibly, creating no physical markers or visible evidence, making accomplishments psychologically ephemeral. This invisibility prevents reward reinforcement because brain needs explicit signals confirming completion to release reward neurochemistry. Single completion ritual solves this completely, creating immediate tangible evidence, producing psychological reward. Implementation requires establishing specific completion ritual for each major disciplined behavior performed consistently. Choose physical marking method. Wall calendar with visible marks for each completion. Token system moving physical objects from pending to complete. Tracking journal with special marking ritual. Whatever creates tangible immediate evidence. Critical requirements. Marking must occur immediately after completion, not hours later. Marking must be physical, creating external evidence, not merely mental acknowledgement. Marking must accumulate visibly over time, showing progress rather than resetting daily. Execute disciplined action, immediately perform completion ritual, experience satisfaction from tangible evidence, allow visual accumulation to compound satisfaction over weeks. Track whether rituals increase execution consistency and subjective satisfaction from discipline, noting whether marked actions feel more rewarding than unmarked, proving reward engineering effectiveness. Completion rituals create immediate reward, but single completion produces minimal satisfaction. Compound effect requires progress visibility. Second habit solves this. Habit 2, quantified progress tracking. Second habit is quantified progress tracking, measuring specific metrics, revealing capability increase over time. Define measurable performance metrics. Track systematically. Review progress regularly, confirming improvement. Quantified tracking creates reward through visible capability increase, proving that disciplined effort produces measurable results. Most people execute discipline without systematic measurement, making progress psychologically invisible. You feel like you're training consistently, but can't confirm whether capability is actually increasing. You believe you're working more focused, but have no data proving output improvement. This prevents progress-based reward because reward requires recognized advancement, not merely maintained effort. Quantified tracking provides explicit data confirming capability increase, triggering competence, satisfaction, and creating evidence that discipline produces actual results, not merely consumes time and effort. Why specific quantified metrics rather than subjective feelings become clear, examining motivation, sustainability, and placebo prevention. Subjective assessment allows self-deception. You feel like you're improving when actually plateaued or declining because memory is unreliable, and self-serving bias creates false progress perception. Quantified data eliminates deception, providing objective reality check, confirming genuine progress or revealing stagnation, requiring approach adjustment. Additionally, quantified improvement triggers stronger psychological reward than vague subjective sense. because concrete data provides undeniable proof, activating competence satisfaction mechanisms more reliably than ambiguous feelings. Research on self-determination theory confirms that perceived competence is fundamental psychological need. Quantified data proving capability increase satisfies this need, creating intrinsic motivation while subjective feelings produce uncertain satisfaction. Consider consistent training over 3 months. Without quantified tracking, you believe you've improved because training feels slightly easier but lack concrete evidence, confirming actual capability increase versus merely psychological adaptation to familiar discomfort. This ambiguity produces minimal reward because improvement isn't definitively established. Now consider identical training with systematic tracking. You record exact performance metrics weekly: weight lifted, reps completed, time sustained, distance covered, and review data monthly confirming measurable improvement. Data shows definitive 20% capability increase over 3 months, providing concrete proof that consistent discipline produced actual results. This quantified evidence triggers substantial competence satisfaction, creating strong reward reinforcement, making continued discipline psychologically compelling because proven effectiveness is undeniable. Implementation requires identifying specific measurable metrics for each discipline behavior domain and establishing systematic tracking protocol. Training metrics: weight lifted for specific exercises, repetitions completed at standard weight, time sustained for endurance activities, measured distances or speeds. Work metrics: output quantity per focused hour, completion time for standard tasks. Error rates or quality measures, project completion frequency. Any discipline domain, identify 2 to 3 key performance indicators, clearly measurable, providing objective capability assessment. Track systematically, same frequency, weekly works well. Record data in accessible format allowing easy review. Conduct monthly progress review, calculating change percentages, confirming improvement or revealing stagnation requiring adjustment. Share progress data with accountability partner or publicly, creating social reinforcement. Track whether quantified visibility increases discipline, consistency, and satisfaction, noting whether data-confirmed progress produces stronger motivation than subjective impression, proving measurement importance. Progress tracking confirms capability increase, but accumulated evidence needs regular psychological recognition, converting data into reward. Third habit completes immediate reward engineering. Habit 3. Scheduled celebration protocols. Third habit is scheduled celebration protocols, explicitly acknowledging accumulated discipline and achieved progress, creating regular reward moments. Establish weekly celebration ritual, review accumulated completions, explicitly verbalize accomplishment recognition. Celebration protocols create reward through deliberate psychological recognition of accumulated discipline, converting abstract data into explicit satisfaction. Most people accumulate discipline completions and progress improvements without ever explicitly celebrating accomplishment. Calendar fills with marks, data shows improvement, yet you never pause to consciously acknowledge what you've achieved, making accomplishments psychologically inert despite objective evidence. This prevents full reward activation because reward requires conscious recognition, not merely passive data existence. Celebration protocol forces explicit acknowledgement, triggering full psychological reward response, making discipline satisfying, not just instrumentally effective. Why scheduled celebration rather than spontaneous appreciation becomes clear, examining psychological sustainability and habit formation. Spontaneous celebration occurs only when you feel motivated, creating dependency on existing positive mood rather than generating positive mood through recognition practice. Scheduled celebration occurs regardless of current emotional state, creating reliable reward signal that lifts mood rather than depending on mood already being elevated. Additionally, scheduled protocol becomes automatic habit itself, ensuring celebration occurs consistently, while spontaneous approach allows skipping celebration during challenging periods when reward reinforcement is most needed. Research on positive psychology confirms that structured gratitude and accomplishment recognition practices produce greater well-being improvement than spontaneous appreciation, because consistency allows neural pathway development, while sporadic practice produces minimal lasting effect. Consider accumulating 3 weeks of perfect execution. Every planned discipline action completed successfully. Calendar shows unbroken completion marks. Progress data reveals measurable improvement. Without celebration protocol, you glance at calendar occasionally noting marks, but never explicitly acknowledging accomplishment because you're focused on what's next rather than what's been achieved. Accumulated discipline produces minimal psychological reward because recognition never occurred. Now consider same period with weekly celebration protocol. Friday evening, you sit with calendar and progress data, explicitly review 3 weeks of perfect execution, verbally state, "I executed consistently for 3 weeks without single miss," demonstrating reliable discipline capability, allows satisfaction from recognition to register fully. Same accomplishments, dramatically different psychological reward through explicit structured acknowledgement. Examine your relationship with achieved discipline honestly. When you complete week of consistent execution or achieve measurable progress, do you explicitly celebrate accomplishment through deliberate recognition ritual? Or do you briefly acknowledge success, then immediately focus on next challenge, preventing full reward activation? Most people discover they accumulate discipline without celebration, creating pattern where achievement produces minimal satisfaction because recognition never occurs, making discipline feel perpetually. This recognition deficit prevents reward reinforcement, maintaining discipline as effortful rather than satisfying. Implementation requires establishing exact celebration protocol occurring weekly, regardless of current emotional state or motivation level. Friday evening or Sunday morning works well, providing weekend bookends for review. Celebration protocol steps: review past week's completion tracking, noting every executed disciplined action, calculate completion percentage, and compare to previous weeks. Review progress data, noting, "This week, I completed X of Y planned actions, demonstrating Y% consistency and achieving Z measurable improvement." Allowing full satisfaction to register, optionally share accomplishment with accountability partner or support system, creating social reinforcement. Entire protocol requires 10 to 15 minutes weekly, but produces substantial reward reinforcement, making next week's discipline more psychologically appealing. Track whether celebration increases subsequent week execution consistency, proving reward effect. Celebration creates explicit reward, but immediate gratification alone produces shallow satisfaction. Deep addiction requires recognized pattern. Let's shift to pattern recognition training. Habit 4, identity statement articulation. Fourth habit is identity statement articulation, explicitly defining disciplined self-concept through written declaration. Write clear identity statement. Include specific disciplined behaviors defining that identity. Review daily, reinforcing self-concept. Identity articulation creates discipline attraction through established self-concept alignment, making disciplined behavior psychologically congruent with defined identity. Most people execute discipline without explicit identity framework, creating actions that feel separate from self-concept. "I'm forcing myself to train," rather than "training is what I do because I'm person who trains consistently." This separation prevents identity-based motivation because actions feel imposed, rather than identity-expressing, making discipline perpetually require overcoming resistance between action and self-concept. Explicit identity statement eliminates separation by defining discipline as core self-concept element, making disciplined actions feel natural self-expression rather than forced behavior change. Why explicit written statement rather than vague self-conception becomes clear examining identity clarity and action consistency. Vague self-concept allows inconsistency rationalization. You think of yourself as disciplined person, but skip actions frequently because definition lacks specificity, permitting flexible interpretation. Written explicit statement creates clear standard, making inconsistency obvious through direct contradiction between stated identity and actual behavior. Additionally, written statement allows regular review, reinforcing self-concept through repeated exposure, while vague conception remains mentally abstract, producing minimal behavior influence. Research on identity-based habits confirms that explicit identity statements produce substantially higher behavioral consistency than goal-based commitments, because identity creates self-concept, congruence motivation stronger than outcome-seeking motivation. Consider executing discipline without explicit identity framework. You train some days, but skip others, work focused sometimes, but distracted frequently, maintain commitments occasionally, but break them regularly. Pattern is inconsistent because no clear identity standard exists, making each execution separate decision based on current motivation rather than identity-congruent automatic behavior. Now consider identical goals with explicit identity statement written and reviewed daily. I am person who trains every morning without exception, works in focused 2-hour blocks daily, and maintains commitments regardless of difficulty, because reliable execution defines my character. This statement creates clear identity standard, making skipping action directly contradicts stated self-concept, producing psychological discomfort, motivating execution to maintain identity-behavior alignment. Implementation requires writing explicit detailed identity statement, including specific discipline behaviors, defining that identity, and establishing daily review protocol, reinforcing self-concept. Identity statement format: I am identity label, whose specific consistent behaviors because character value or principle. Example: I am disciplined person who trains daily at 6 a.m., works in focused blocks without distraction, and maintains commitments completely because reliable execution defines my character and creates capability others cannot match. Statement should include 3-5 specific behaviors currently implementing or immediately beginning. Should emphasize consistency and character over outcomes. Should resonate personally, feeling authentic rather than aspirational. Write statement in journal. Position prominently where you'll see daily. Review every morning upon waking, reading slowly, allowing self-concept to activate. Track whether daily review increases execution consistency, noting whether identity-congruent framing reduces resistance to disciplined actions. Identity articulation creates self-concept alignment. But abstract identity needs concrete evidence proving statement accuracy. Fifth habit provides this proof. Habit 5, behavioral evidence collection. Fifth habit is behavioral evidence collection, systematically documenting actions, proving identity statement accuracy. Record every identity-congruent action immediately. Accumulate evidence over time. Review regularly, confirming identity through demonstrated behavior. Evidence collection creates identity reinforcement through accumulated proof that stated self-concept reflects actual, consistent behavior pattern. Most people articulate identity without systematic evidence, making self-concept feel aspirational rather than descriptive. "I am disciplined" person feels like hopeful claim rather than accurate self-description, because no accumulated proof exists demonstrating that claim reflects reality. This weakens identity-based motivation because uncertain self-concept produces minimal behavior influence. Evidence collection eliminates uncertainty by creating definitive proof that identity statement accurately describes consistent demonstrated behavior, making self-concept feel genuinely true rather than merely desired, strengthening identity congruence motivation substantially. Why systematic collection rather than casual memory becomes clear examining self-concept confidence and imposter syndrome prevention. Memory is unreliable, selectively remembering failures more than successes, creating self-doubt despite actual consistent execution. Additionally, memory provides no quantitative assessment, preventing you from knowing whether you execute identity-congruent behaviors 70% versus 95% of time. Systematic collection creates objective, comprehensive record, providing both qualitative proof through accumulated examples and quantitative assessment through calculated consistency rates, eliminating uncertainty and imposter feelings. Research on self-efficacy confirms that documented mastery experiences are strongest source of confidence, while memory-based assessment produces unreliable self-evaluation susceptible to mood-dependent distortion. Consider identity statement. I am person who trains consistently without excuse. Without evidence collection, you believe you train regularly but lack specific data, confirming actual consistency. Memory recalls some training sessions and some skips, creating ambiguous self-concept where you're uncertain whether identity claim is accurate. This uncertainty weakens motivation because doubtful identity produces minimal behavior pool. Now consider same identity with systematic evidence collection. You record every training session, immediately marking date and completion. Accumulate evidence over 3 months, showing 92% consistency, 69 of 75 planned sessions completed. Review evidence regularly, seeing definitive proof that identity statement accurately describes actual behavior. Evidence eliminates doubt, creating genuine confidence in identity claim, strengthening identity congruence motivation dramatically because you know with certainty that stated self-concept reflects demonstrated reality. Implementation requires establishing systematic evidence collection for each behavior included in identity statement and reviewing accumulated evidence regularly. Collection method. Use tracking application recording each identity congruent action immediately after execution with date stamp, or maintain physical journal marking each completion, or use calendar system where marks accumulate visibly. Critical requirement. Record immediately, preventing memory distortion and creating complete, accurate record. Weekly review accumulated evidence, calculating consistency percentages. Monthly review creates comprehensive assessment showing patterns over time. Evidence review reinforces identity by providing definitive proof that self-concept reflects reality rather than aspiration. Track whether evidence visibility increases execution consistency, noting whether accumulated proof strengthens identity-based motivation, making discipline feel more natural self-expression. Evidence collection proves identity accuracy, but individual proof needs social validation, confirming that identity is recognized externally. Let's shift to identity reinforcement building. Habit 6, public identity declaration. Sixth habit is public identity declaration, explicitly announcing disciplined self-concept to people whose opinion matters, creating social accountability and identity validation. Choose accountability audience carefully. State identity explicitly, not merely goals. Accept social pressure, maintaining identity behavior consistency. Public declaration creates powerful commitment through social accountability. making identity violation require explaining failure to respected others rather than merely disappointing yourself privately. Private identity statements allow rationalization and exception-making because only you witness inconsistency between stated identity and actual behavior, permitting flexible reinterpretation without external challenge. Public declaration removes this flexibility by creating witnesses who know your stated identity, making inconsistent behavior socially visible, requiring explanation, or accepting perceived identity failure. This social pressure creates strong motivation, maintaining identity behavior alignment, because humans are fundamentally social creatures whose self-concept depends substantially on how others perceive them, making public identity contradiction psychologically costly beyond private self-disappointment. Why explicit identity declaration rather than merely sharing goals becomes clear examining commitment psychology and social reinforcement mechanisms. Goal sharing creates expectations about outcomes, allowing rationalization when outcomes don't materialize. Circumstances prevented achievement. I tried my best. External factors interfered. Maintaining self-concept despite goal failure. Identity declaration creates expectations about consistent behavior patterns, allowing no rationalization because behavior is fully controlled, making inconsistency unambiguous identity contradiction. Additionally, identity declaration activates different social responses. People begin viewing you as a disciplined person and treating you accordingly, reinforcing that self-concept through social mirroring, while goal sharing merely creates outcome expectations without identity effect. Consider maintaining private identity statement, believing you're a disciplined person while executing inconsistently. Private context allows rationalization, preserving self-concept despite contradicting behavior because only you witness inconsistency, permitting flexible interpretation. Now consider identical identity with public declaration to 3 people you respect. Explaining, I'm person who trains daily without exception because consistent execution defines my character. These individuals now perceive you through disciplined identity lens, noticing when you execute consistently and when you skip. Social visibility creates pressure, maintaining alignment, because identity violation requires either explaining failure to respected others or accepting their revised perception of you as less disciplined than claimed. This social accountability dramatically strengthens execution consistency. Examine your current accountability honestly. Who in your life knows specific details about your disciplined identity commitments, not vague goals, but explicit identity statements, including consistent behavior standards? Who would notice and potentially comment if you violated stated identity through inconsistent behavior? Most people discover they maintain completely private discipline commitments, creating zero external accountability, allowing inconsistency without social consequence. This privacy prevents powerful social reinforcement that public declaration activates, making discipline depend entirely on fluctuating internal motivation rather than stable external pressure. Implementation requires selecting appropriate accountability audience and making explicit identity declaration to them with established reporting protocol. Choose 1-3 people whose opinion you genuinely value, not casual acquaintances whose judgment you discount, but individuals you respect and whose perception of you matters emotionally. Schedule conversation explaining your identity commitment using explicit language. I want to share my identity commitment with you and ask for your accountability. My identity is specific statement, including specific behaviors. I'm asking you to hold me accountable by specific mechanism, weekly check-ins, giving you permission to ask about consistency, etc. Make declaration feel meaningful, not casual. ensuring social establish regular reporting, maintaining visibility, weekly brief updates, or allowing them to ask about execution freely. Track whether public accountability increases consistency substantially compared to private commitment, proving social pressure effectiveness. Public declaration creates social accountability, but external pressure alone feels coercive. Authentic addiction requires aligning discipline with meaningful purpose. Final habit completes identity reinforcement. Habit 7, purpose-discipline integration. Seventh habit is purpose-discipline integration, explicitly connecting daily discipline behaviors to meaningful long-term purpose, creating existential alignment. Define clear, meaningful purpose. Map specific discipline behaviors to purpose achievement. Review connection regularly, maintaining integration. Purpose integration creates deepest discipline motivation by establishing existential significance, making daily actions feel meaningful beyond immediate gratification or identity maintenance. Most people execute discipline without clear purpose connection. You train, but lack explicit understanding of how training serves meaningful life direction. You work focused, but don't connect daily output to significant long-term contribution. You maintain various disciplines without integrated framework, showing how they collectively create meaningful existence. This disconnection prevents deepest motivation, because humans need meaning, not merely achievement, making purpose-disconnected discipline feel hollow despite external success. Purpose integration eliminates hollowness by establishing explicit connection between daily actions and meaningful existence, creating existential satisfaction from disciplined execution. Why explicit integration rather than assumed connection becomes clear, examining motivation, sustainability, and existential fulfillment. Assumed connection remains mentally vague, allowing disconnection rationalization when discipline feels difficult. This specific action doesn't really matter for my purpose. I can skip without meaningful consequence. Explicit integration creates clear understanding of exactly how each disciplined behavior contributes to purpose achievement making. Skipping directly contradicts purpose pursuit rather than merely breaking routine. Additionally, explicit integration allows purpose reminder during execution, transforming mundane discipline into meaningful action. You're not just training, you're building physical capability required for purpose achievement, making same action feel more significant. Research on self-determination theory confirms that autonomous motivation, purpose-aligned, produces superior persistence compared to controlled motivation, identity or external pressure, because purpose creates intrinsic drive while other motivations remain somewhat external. Consider training consistently through identity commitment and social pressure, but lacking clear purpose connection. You execute discipline reliably, but sometimes wonder, why am I doing this? What's the point beyond maintaining identity and meeting expectations? This existential uncertainty produces hollowness despite consistent execution. Now consider identical training with explicit purpose integration. You've defined meaningful purpose, maybe building capability for specific ambitious project, creating physical capacity for long-term. And you've explicitly mapped how daily training specifically supports that purpose, building strength required for project demands, creating endurance necessary for planned adventure, demonstrating consistent execution principle for children to model. Same training, dramatically different psychological experience, because purpose connection transforms mundane routine into meaningful action serving significant existence. Implementation requires defining clear, meaningful personal purpose and explicitly mapping how each major discipline behavior supports that purpose achievement. Purpose definition: identify what creates meaning for you personally. Might be ambitious, capability requiring project, meaningful contribution to others. personal excellence demonstration, specific experience or adventure requiring preparation, legacy creation for family, whatever feels genuinely significant, not socially approved, but personally resonant. Write 1-2-paragraph purpose statement explaining why this matters profoundly. Then map specific discipline behaviors to purpose. Daily training builds physical capability required for purpose element. Focused work creates expertise necessary for purpose achievement. Maintained commitments demonstrate character required for purpose pursuit. Review purpose discipline integration weekly, reminding yourself how daily actions serve meaningful existence. Track whether purpose visibility increases intrinsic motivation and execution satisfaction, noting whether meaningful connection reduces reliance on external motivation or pressure.